starting on Thursday through the weekend is the Platinum Heritage Auction. And Platinum auctions those are the big boy books. This is like their signature stuff. They do weekly auctions, but they pool together all of the biggest stuff for, specific moments throughout the year. And I wanted to go through a few of them, just kind of ask Matt what you think about some of this stuff. Some of them are interesting. Some of them, it's cool to see, like, oh, look at this high grade, like this is the top of census. Some of them, maybe we can tinfoil hat a little bit, get spicy with it. But the one we got to start with is, of course, Action Comics #1. You guys know what this book is. First appearance of Superman. It's an 8.5, a Kansas City pedigree. Now, there are two higher grade than this, and the record price for this book is $3 million. The record price for comic book period was a private sale of a Superman 1 that sold for $5 million, 5.2 or 5.3 or whatever. So I'm sure this is going to get more bids, when this thing comes in. Some people thinking 8 million, some people saying 10 million. It's currently at 5 million. What else can I say? A couple of people have said that the two copies that are 9.0, I don't know if this is true, but like someone owns both of them. True. And is like a permanent collector. So like
museum.
In theory,
he has like a museum.
Oh, is it? Okay. Yeah. And this is the highest, let's call it the highest publicly graded Action 1 that will ever come to market. What do you think about this one? How are you feeling about Action 1?
Yeah, I mean, I thought, it's funny because when we did a video on this, we were kind of looking at it to say like, hey, is this an 8.5?
Yeah.
And, it's a golden age book. I wouldn't, and a modern wouldn't get an 8.5 with that. But having said that, like, I feel comfortable saying that this book is an 8.5. Like, it's not making me lose my mind. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think this is really cool. I have people calling me and asking me about this that have no clue about comics because they heard about it somewhere already. And again, that is great for our hobby. So I want this book to go for 100 million. Clearly it's not, but I think 6.5 to 7 is where this will settle. I don't see it hitting 8. I definitely don't see it hitting 10 because of those two higher existing copies.
Right.
That's what I think limits it. Having the Kansas City pedigree is huge. That being the first pedigree, if I'm not mistaken, ever recognized. Is that correct, Swaggle?
Actually, I don't know anything about it. What was it?
I believe the Kansas City pedigree is the first recognized pedigree. So that's a really cool aspect of this. But having two books higher than this, I think holds it down a little bit.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. Actually, now that you say that, the fact that it's Kansas Superman. I mean,
I didn't even think about that.
Thematically, that is a cool pedigree for this book.
Very, very true.
So
that's Derek's. It says it does not present as nice as the Rocket copy, and he is correct about that.
Another one I thought was interesting to talk about is this Captain America Comics 1. First appearance of Captain America. It's a 9.2, and while it's not the highest on the census, there actually is a 9.8 of it. What I thought was interesting about this one, and maybe this can be the conversation, is you see here the 9.2s. There's 3 of them, and the last sale was 810. And if you do some digging, what you'll find out is the last sale is the same book.
Same copy. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you always make of that type of thing? It's like someone bought this book for $800K in August of 2023. And here we are, April of 2024, not too long later. And now it's going back up for sale. I mean, was this just like a dealer that was going for the flip, or what do you think about that?
I don't know of too many people that are flipping close to $1 million books. But going back to the tin foil, I mean, that copy of All-Star Comics 8, I believe, right? First Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
That's up for sale again already.
There you go.
So did the owner not get the price that he wanted? And it's on a different auction site.
Right.
And that's a quick turnaround. Like, it's already out there as upcoming. That happens. I mean, you're talking about astronomical amounts of money, right? So people are going, think about what people do for $100. Forget about $1 million, right?
Right.
So yeah, I when I see that, when you see as quick of a flip as that, listen, things can happen, right? The rug gets pulled out from people all the time. So
Yeah.
definitely possibilities, but when you see it over and over, like, or when you see it a couple times on different books, like, you got to know at least one of them there's something going on here. So
Yeah.
this is an amazing book. I mean, either way, but
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see if it goes higher than it went last time. And again, people, I don't know. The collectible people are collectors are finicky, so you never know what
Yeah.
just jives them the wrong way. Like, hey, this just sold. You're not fooling anybody here, but we'll see. It's definitely a lot lower right now, right? I mean,
Yeah. It's at four, it's only halfway there.
yeah,
It's got a double to get to 810. This one caught my eye as well. You got a 9.8 Daredevil one. Talk about top of census for Marvel Silver Age keys. Like this auction alone has top of census for a bunch of books. And this one I know is interesting because it's 252 right now. I think the record sale, I'm not sure. I think it was like 100, like a 9.6. There's 3 9.8s.
yeah.
I've heard of a private 9.8 sale that sold for like 800K. I don't think that that's going to get 800K on this one. But what do you think about this
I mean, you
Daredevil?
know what? I didn't look at this one close. To see, hey, again, because if somebody's buying a 9.8, especially now with everything we see, like people are gonna want these things to be looking like a 9.8. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. Is this a 9.8? Like right off the bat, you got a tick. I could see without you zooming in that the top left hand corner is rubbed bad.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's got like some,
so it's not a 9.8. Like I don't. You're not gonna change my mind, right? Like nobody in the chat. You're not gonna change my mind. This is not a 9.8.
right.
So it's going to hold this book back, even though I think a lot of people, and I know people hate to do it, but you know, the big screen and the small screen definitely drive the price of some of this stuff. And I think people are kind of excited about what's possible with the Daredevil series. So while I see it being very far from 800 right now, I think this will jump more than expected. I
Yeah.
don't know, 400 to 500. I think,
Yeah.
you know,
I
500.
mean, already this is going to be the record price for
Yeah.
Daredevil 1. So, hey, record personal best still.
You got a lot of competition, and that's the problem. When you
Yeah.
have these major top of the census books all in the same, auction,
Yeah.
a lot of them are going to suffer, right? Especially the ones that aren't, like you just showed Tech 27 and All Star Comics 1. And,
Yeah.
because comparatively so, Daredevil 1 is like small potatoes, right? Like when you're talking about those books, right?
Yeah.
So,
Well, it's funny. I mean, we can jump ahead to this one. And to me, the talking point was actually going to be, Comic Connect just had a recent sale and they had a 6.0, I mean, like 2 weeks ago or something. Like they had a 6.0 and it sold for like 1.8 million. It was the record for that grade and stuff. And here you have another one. And it's like, I guess these books just fall off of trees. They just, every auction has one. They
well,
always
this is already the record for this grade, correct?
Yeah, this is already the record for this grade. The question is it going to be 1 million? Is it going to hit 1 million? Because I think if you go here, let me see. I don't know how accurate Go Collect recent sales are, but here you see a 4.5 that went for 1.1 in 2022. So like, can the 3.0 hit the 1 million mark? I don't know.
I mean, it's crazy like that. Some pages sell for like 100,000 or 200,000, and like purple labels sell for a couple 100,000. So again, I think unfortunately a lot of times with these books, circumstances are going to dictate price. And again, you're in an auction with other just insane books. So I mean, this is I don't know. Is this the second best book in this auction? Maybe it's the third. It's probably the second best auction in this book.
Yeah.
Slightly brittle pages. That's going to probably deter a couple bidders.
Yeah.
It looks pretty nice though. I mean, that's not a bad looking 3.
You have a little here, but honestly, it's not. I mean, it's not bad. Like
it's a decent looking 3. In my eyes, at least for what my eye goes to.
Totally.
I don't know. It'll be. Oh man. I think when people start getting bid out of another book, right? Like when they get outpriced on a certain book, they're going to start shifting their focus, and things are going to happen very fast for some of these books at the very end. So I can see this hitting 900.
Yeah.
I think it'll be just shy of 1 million.
Yeah. You kind of wonder, like, are the people who go into the auction being like, they got their money and they know they want that Action One. And then it's like, if they don't buy this, do they say, well, let me
What's the
grab that
backup plan?
detective,
Yeah. What's the backup plan?
Yeah, exactly. So be interesting to watch this one. Now, this one here, this is very interesting to me. The reason being is that it's the CBCS label, the 9/8 House of Secrets 92, first Swamp Thing. Now, for context for you, as I get your thoughts, the 9/8 of CGC did go on sale recently, not too long ago. It was in January of this year, 84,000, slight correction from the COVID price of 90.
Yeah.
So now in the CBCS label, we're currently sitting at 26. Can this get anywhere near 84?
No. And if anybody wants to join up with me, if this stays below 40, we should buy it, resubmit it, and make our 80 on CGC. I'm serious, because this book is not going to sell for 40.
Yeah.
It sucks that that's the case, but it is the case, right? This is a nice looking copy.
Yeah, it's nice actually. I kind of did I pre-scrubbed before.
It's
we
not
went
bad. Yeah, this is not this is as close to a 9/8 as we've seen so far out of all the books, right? I don't know. I mean, it's such a shame with CBCS, and shame on them because they don't take advantage when they should. So it's completely up their fault as well. But the premiums are just not there, and especially on these high end books, like people will literally scroll past this without even giving it a second look. There's plenty of people that will run right past this, and anybody that is bidding on this is probably thinking the same thing I'm thinking. Buy it at a real deep discount, send it into CGC, and pray for a 9/8 and make your money.
Yeah.
Because even if it's a 9/6, maybe depending on what it goes for, maybe you only lose a couple thousand.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like we said, like the quick look over, it's a nice looking book. So I think that there's definitely going to be a dealer that is going to want to go for the quick.
This is going to CGC. I mean,
yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah. So cool one to see. I think that one is super interesting. A couple other ones here.
DC Keys right now, very undervalued. That's where, if I'm giving free advice, that's where I'm putting my money. Because I think James Gunn may shift the dynamic. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, speaking of more DC, Sensation Comics 1/9/6, first Wonder Woman cover, second appearance. I think this is the top of census. Yes, it is. Sold for $400K back in 2017. I mean, with these books, it's currently at $288. It's not quite where it sold last. A lot of Wonder Woman competition. We've seen like the All-Star 8 kind of have corrections more than other ones. I mean, what do you think about Wonder Woman these days? Does that movie hurt her?
I don't know if it hurts. That's kind of like the thing with DC Comics also, is that like their movies don't really move the comics too much, but the bad ones don't also move them down, right? Too much.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the beauty of it. Now, is that I think you said it. Is that the exceptional sticker? Is that?
Yeah, it says the pristine wartime comic.
Right. I think that's a big draw to this book, even though, I mean, isn't it an exceptional 9/6? I mean, sure, it's a wartime. I mean, this is an old book, so I will give a little bit of a leeway on this one for sure. It looks okay. It's a decent copy. Obviously, it's tanned up a little bit, but that is a pretty sharp looking copy for the most part. I don't know. I mean, people want to love Wonder Woman again. Like that first movie, like that again, like Wonder Woman was as a name everybody knew, but like all of a sudden you saw those toys coming off the shelves, you saw costumes going up. That changed. That was an iconic role on screen, and it trickled down through comics and all over new Wonder Woman series, Black and Gold, and who's doing this and who's that. You're just like, you know what I mean? And so, right now I don't think people have that same level of interest. So this one, the price might be hurt by that on this one a little bit.
Yeah, this one could be tough. And this again is another one that I don't know, the Sensation ones, the Batman ones, the Superman ones, they keep showing up. just in terms of these auctions. Like it's like it always feels like there's one copy of them, and I wonder if that kind of hurts sort of the luster for some people. All right, this one is interesting to me because it's the signed copy. You got a Silver Surfer 1 with a Stan Lee signature, 9/8. Signature, not the worst Stan Lee I've ever seen. At least Stan Lee didn't sign over Surfer's face, which I wouldn't put it past him to do something like that. This one sitting pretty low at 22,000. I bring up this one because a 9/8 sold earlier this year for 132, 9/8 unsigned, and there's 10 of them on the census. This is the only 9/8 that is signed. So kind of gets into that whole, like, do you think signed books actually hurt value sometimes?
It depends who you ask, right? And that's all that matters. Like the people that have the money to buy this book, if they're not interested in the signature, that's going to hurt the value. I mean, like when you brought this book up, I was like, oh my God, I want this in my collection. Like this is honestly, out of everything we've seen, like obviously I'd rather have some of those other books just for monetary value, but like to me, this is the coolest thing, right? Because Silver Surfer is like my second favorite character, and to have a Stan Lee signature on a 9/8 of this book, like it's not even his first appearance. Awesome cover though. This was that run of that big premiere issue badge. This is such a cool book. Like it's such a conversation piece. Yeah, it's a conversation piece. It seems like it's going to go for a steal. But again, this one may just be floating under the radar right now because of how much heat is sitting on top of it.
That's true.
Once that gets kind of weeded out, this book might, in the last like 15 minutes, like jump majorly, because Stan Lee's signature still matters. It does. It does. I don't care what anybody says. Like, oh, they were just like he was like Weekend at Bernie's at the end, right? Where he's just like his hands just going. He doesn't even know what he's doing. It doesn't matter.
Right. Yeah. So not a Weekend at Bernie's fan either. Yeah.
So, I mean, it would have been awesome if that signature was just like 3 inches to the right. It would have been amazing. It would have been perfect placement. But his signature still matters. I don't want to say that. His signature still matters to a good portion of the community. For sure. Yeah.
And of course, shout out to Ryan. I mean, you can't trust the pre-live auction prices. They jump tremendously, but it can sometimes be a bit of a vibe check as like this one's already, people are letting it be known that they're in it to win it, versus some of the other ones, like you said, maybe this one right now just it's getting attention pulled away.
Yeah.
All right, 2 more books here to talk about that I thought were interesting. Strange Tales 110, 9/6 copy. Again, another top of census for, the Marvel silver blue chips, if you want to call it that. 7 of these are 9/6. Surprising that there's not actually a 9/8 of this. Maybe that'll change one day. But I mean,
probably 9/9 actually.
It could be a 9/9 soon. I mean, look, I mean,
this is a 9/8 candidate for sure.
Right there. Cracking press for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I mean, I think that this book, where it sits at 93, is already going to set the record for this book. I mean, the last sale for the 9/6 was 66. So it's already going to be a record price for this book. But I don't know. Strange Tales 110 is a funny book to me. It feels like it's really cheap now. You see some of those lower grade sales. I mean, you can get a 3.0 for like $1,000. I mean, that was not the case a while back.
Yeah, and that wasn't even COVID, to be honest with you. Like, this was just a sought after book that didn't come up super often. And again, I keep going back to the movies, and some people hate that, but I don't care what you. I mean, I think, and I meant to say this earlier, I think people are waiting for like the whiteboard and the math to start coming because of the 2 of us on the channel together right now, but it hasn't yet. So I want to keep that streak going, but you have to look at the numbers. Like that's what drives a lot of these things. And this book was sought after prior to 2021, and the end of 2020, because of, I think, the scarcity. Not a lot of people cared about Doctor Strange. I had a cult following. And then the movie hit, and it was so good. And you started seeing more, and you started seeing more. but this was a very pricey book even before COVID. So a little surprised. I haven't checked on this book, so when you scroll down, I was kind of learning as I was watching, and I was like, wow, this has really fallen.
Yeah, you could say. I mean, look here, 3.0, 30-day, 1,300.
Yeah, I
So
mean
it's
that
so
was
affordable
my
compared to
guess
what.
in 2020, like that sold for 2K. Like,
Yeah, look at that, 3,000, 4,000 top.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know, that's insane, right?
yikes, yeah, yeah.
So
I mean, I think it's a great book. I mean, I think this is like one of those books that you have in your collection that like a lot of people won't know, but the people that know, they're like, ah,
yeah,
that's such a cool thing to have in your collection. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It's one of those books.
absolutely. And then last book, just to highlight another Marvel blue
This is
chip right
interesting.
here. Tales of Suspense 39 First Iron Man. I think this is, yep, the top of census, the only copy,
Only one.
9.8. I mean, it's so crazy how many top of census of these Marvel keys are in this when you already have an Action 1. That's basically the top. And this one right here, 9.8 white pages now. 9.8 is generous, I think, with this
Yeah.
one. If I'm being fully transparent, I mean, you got a little bit of, I don't know if you want to call that some tan stuff. This corner looks like it's got some stuff. I got some weird staple things going on.
I'm okay with the staples. I think this one had one tick at the
There's a
bottom.
tick
Yep,
right
there it is.
here.
Yeah.
You know, this corner is, I mean, it depends on
Suspect. Yeah.
how
This isn't as egregious as some of the other ones.
yeah.
And
Doesn't
this
quite have the
is,
double quotes here.
yeah, and that's okay. I wouldn't, to me, that is well within allowability. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think this is again a rare book, and it's weird because Iron Man again prior to the MCU, and I know there's Iron Man fans out there, but this was a B C-list character for
Yeah.
a big chunk of, he had his moments for sure, right? But this was, and Tales of Suspense was, again a comic series that wasn't majorly collected when it came out.
Yeah.
Which is why the price of this book is so high compared to some other keys. Well, major first appearances. It's not a super hard, like it's not a black cover where you're like, oh, it's hard to get in a high. It's just the rarity, I think, of it. This is a very cool book. It's not a. I mean, how many of you have held this book in your hand? I would say not a lot, right?
Yeah.
This is a rare book. It's on the rare side, and I think this deserves where I think the 500 mark. I think I think this hits 1,000,000. I do.
Yeah.
I think it hits 1,000,000.
I mean, it's definitely. I remember the one time we had a show, we were talking about like the $1 million clubs and stuff like that. And it's kind of like, all right, this is that chance for this book to hit the million. I didn't know this. Ryan says that in the chat here, it sold for $2 million in a private sale on Comic Link in September. I mean,
there you go.
$2 million sounds like an outrageous price to pay for this book.
September. Okay, so that was 2023. I mean, the high end market was. I mean, it's still flat. It's still flying. It's got no. I don't think 2 million is outlandish for this book.
Yeah, I don't think
because of the rarity.
Yeah, I don't think 2 million's out of, or I would say I don't think 1 million is out of the question for this one, because I think in the last platinum session, there were books like Justice League, or what the first Justice League showcase, whatever, I forget, went to like 900K, and I think Showcase 4, The Flash, went to like 900K. Showcase 4 might be a more desirable book, but we're talking about character popularity. Maybe you know what? Maybe it's going to be a 900K book or something around there.
What was the highest sale of a 9.6? I guess.
Let's see if I can find
278.
One. Yeah, let me see if it's Go Collect will tell us. It looks like 270s and 260s.
Right, and again, that's because of who wants. Right, like you have to have the interest. Like it could be rare, it could be a great character. It could be under collected, but somebody still has to want it, right?
Totally.
Rarity does not always equal value. So clearly it does. I mean, there's some, but we're talking about that next level of value. So
yeah.
I still think it hits 1 million because top census 9.8, Tales of Suspense. This is like one of those books when you're flipping through a collection, you just hope is there. Like,
Oh man,
you know,
it's yeah,
because you could always find like 37, 38, and 40 and 40, like, well, maybe not 40, but like 41, 42. Like, you find those books,
yeah, yeah. All right, I said that it was the last two, but I forgot to pull this one up, and I did want to talk about this last one because we're talking about all the movie stuff. You got this Avengers one, 9.6. It is the top of census, tied with 5 other copies. What's interesting about this book is that this one has not been a good investment.
Interest is just
it's
low.
gone down. Yeah, interest has gone down. It's sad for me. It's one of my favorite books. I really do like it. It's at 117, maybe, again, pre-bid, we don't know. But yeah, I mean, 274 back in when the first Avengers movie came out, and then 215 sometime after that, and then 194. And
well, that's what I mean. Like, can you hit that too? Like, logic tells you that it won't hit that number.
Yeah.
Right, that 270. So, 100 and I don't know, 125, 140.
Yeah.
I think that's still a solid price. A lot of ticks for 9.6.
Yeah, it's got a couple. It's definitely on I'd say the lower end of the 9.6.
Yeah, the 9.2-ish end of the 9.6. Yeah,
yeah,
sounds about
pretty
right.
much, pretty much. But just kind of cool to see, what some of these books end up selling for. It'll be interesting if we're going to get some record prices. I'm sure we will with some of them. We'll get some big sales, and we'll be there to talk about it.